Video is starting. Live. Facebook is live. Twitch is live. Du hast mich.
Well, good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben. How are you?
I'm okay. How indeed are you, sir?
I'm well. I'm well this fine day.
This fine Tuesday afternoon, and of course we are joined by the man
in the corner.
Hi there, Adam. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good, thank you.
You're going to keep us on our toes, I hope. Keep the show running. Keep us moving effortlessly from topic to topic. Now, John.
Ben.
Do your fine.
I'd like to welcome one and all to this episode 133. 133 of Chasing Dissent Live. From me, the man in the van, and now hunkering in the bunker, and from Ben on the South Coast studio, along with the man in the corner.
That was a lovely salute there, Adam. That was a lovely salute. So, what has there been much gone on since yesterday? Well, there's always a lot going on in this world, isn't there, John?
Yeah, it's all kicking off, mate.
It's all kicking off. It's all kicking off. Adam, could you show us a video of things kicking off, please?
Yes, I will do.
Yes.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
So this was shared on Twitter, wasn't it? This was shared on Twitter and has gained a lot of viewership and a lot of people commenting under the guise of "It's all kicking off." Hello, oh my God, it's all. I gotta laugh, John. I've got to laugh.
Well, yeah, one does have to, because, as you know, and I know, and loads of other people know, du hast mich.
Yeah, that's a Rammstein gig.
Yeah.
That's a Rammstein gig, and it's being represented as a war.
Tweets, Adam.
Yeah, let's
scroll down one slide.
Will do. Let's go down.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's all kicking off.
It's all kicking off. Here we go.
I mean, when you see that, you're going to be hearing something along the lines of.
Except played better and much louder.
What I want to know is why would the missiles target the stadium like that? Because you can see the stadium lights there if you
You
zoom
can
in.
see the strings on which they are travelling if you look.
They're not missiles, they're fireworks.
They are fireworks.
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics, like John says. And you know what? A fantastic show it is too. German industrial metal and a lot of flames. You can see a lot of the shows from this tour on YouTube. They're up there for you to see.
Yeah.
But it's this sort of thing. Misinformation.
Yep. Misinformation. And it doesn't matter where it comes from, it's still misinformation.
Yep.
Misinformation, disinformation, and just complete and utter bullshit.
Well, this is it. This is my issue, right? My issue is with the idea of misinformation entirely, because it doesn't matter who it comes from. It can suck people in, and then you get things like this. It's a fucking Rammstein gig, guys. It's a Rammstein gig.
Rammstein.
And like I said, it's a fantastic show. They are a fantastic band.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are well worth going to see live if you get the opportunity. Probably, unless you're German, of course, probably won't understand a damn word they're saying. But it's a good night or afternoon out had by all. I highly recommend it. Anyway, shall we move on, Adam?
Yes. Yep. Let's move on.
So what do we have here?
Oh, well, we have... I've actually started following Defense of Ukraine because it effectively is comedy gold.
Yeah, it is. It's absolute comedy.
It really is. And look at this fine statement they've made today. And hashtagged it as well, was Azov. Okay. but our heroes, defenders of Mariupol, finally can hug their loved ones. We are proud of you. We are forever grateful. Hold on a minute. Mariupol, is that not the bit that they've been shelling for the last 8 years?
Well, and look at the hashtag underneath.
Well, that's what I said, Azov.
Hashtag Azov, ladies and gentlemen.
So, not only have they been kicking shit out of Mariupol for the last 8 years, they're now calling the Azov Battalion heroes for defending it. From what? Defending it from liberation?
Your guess is as good. I mean,
I'm lost.
I don't really want to end up on a Ukrainian kill list, so
you know what? Judging by the way they're going, I think their kill list exists only in their head and in Call of Duty.
Well, a lot of this Twitter account stuff really only exists on Tank Wars 2, Call of Duty, things like that. And yet it's still got a blue check mark. And once again, it seems to be a bit of a running theme here, doesn't it? Misinformation, because this account, fucking full of it. Full of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the account that brought us the Ghost of Kiev.
The Ghost of Kiev.
Which was then subsequently proven never to have existed.
Absolutely.
Even though they have little fucking statuettes of it all over Kiev, apparently.
They do. They have, and they do.
And then they also brought us the downed helicopter from Tank Wars.
Yep, from Tank Wars 2.
The Call of Duty Stinger firer. You know, the guy firing the Stinger missile at the jet.
Yep.
The whole thing was just ridiculous.
Well, like you said, it's like the New York Post of Ukraine. It's comedy gold.
It's worse.
I mean,
it's less accurate.
I'm just going to address Belladonna over there in the YouTube chat, who says it's official disinformation. That's okay.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because, and let's just touch on that briefly, because we did touch on this yesterday, but the UN have got together with Google to censor information that goes against the narrative, and that's their words.
The narrative of the day, that is.
Yeah, and the main narrative is climate change at the moment, and they will actively censor information, even if it's from experts, that goes against their narrative.
Yeah, it's quite terrifying, really, isn't it?
Their words.
It really is quite terrifying.
Well, I mean, it is the single source of truth, isn't it? You must believe. You must believe. We are literally living in 1984.
We are, and that was supposed to be fiction, not a guidebook. And I know that's kind of oversaid in this day and age, but Christ, it's terrifying.
It's a documentary, mate. It's a documentary. It's turned out to be a documentary.
I despair.
Yeah, I know.
So moving on, what do we have next, John?
Well, next we have our friend Elon.
What? Adam, could you read that to us, please?
Yes, Ukraine-Russia peace. Redo elections of annexed regions under UN supervision. Russia leaves if that is the will of the people. Crimea, formerly part of Russia, as it has been since 1783, until Khrushchev's mistake. Water supply to Crimea assured. Ukraine remains neutral.
And that's a poll that Elon Musk has put out on Twitter.
Yeah, he's asking the question, should we have a Ukraine-Russian peace? Should we just give them what they want, basically? And by God, he got slaughtered in the replies, didn't he?
Yeah, and do you know what? I think this is why he did it.
Yeah,
So,
I think he's bot chasing, isn't he?
Yeah, so this is about, in my opinion, this is nothing to do with Elon Musk wanting peace in Russia or in Ukraine or Crimea. This is about Elon Musk's legal defense against Twitter in his court case that starts in check states 12 days, John, in court. 12
days.
And I think as you're right, it's a good way to say it. He's bot chasing.
Some of the thread was quite interesting. If you move on to the next thread, Adam, Wyatt Reed wades in because he thinks Elon's being genuine and obviously answers him.
Yeah.
And says, blah 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 blah. And then Elon goes back into it about Russia's done a partial mobilization. If they go to full war, if Crimea's at risk, death on both sides will be devastating. And yes, it will.
Absolutely right.
Fuck.
Absolutely right. Death on both sides.
Russia has 3 times the population of Ukraine, so victory for Ukraine is unlikely in total war. Well, that's true, unless of course they're playing. What's that game called? Total War. There's a game, isn't there? Ukraine might be on that.
But they might be sitting there on the old PS5, just
yeah.
Zelensky going, "We got them, boys. We got the Russians, we got them."
And then Elon stokes a fire again by saying, "Well, you know what? It's likely to be the outcome, regardless of how you vote for this poll.
Well,
in the end,
but you
and
know
it's just
what?
a question of how many die before that."
Well, this is exactly right, and this is why we speak about this so much. Is because of all the people in the middle that will get killed from all of this shit. That's who we care about, and it's not about. We don't care about Putin. We don't care about Zelensky. We don't care about their regimes. We care about the guy serving you coffee at Starbucks, the guy driving your ambulance, the guy trying to work in what is now McRuskies. We care about those people.
And stars. It's stars.
Stars, yeah, stars. What we don't care about is megalomaniacs, psychos who run their governments. And are trying to hold on to some kind of power and build themselves some kind of legacy.
And what we don't want is nuclear war, despite the Telegraph and the Sky trying to scare it up a bit, and the Telegraph going on about nuclear convoys running towards, from Russia, running towards Ukraine.
Yeah.
But and then our friend Kim. What does Kim go and do?
What's Little Rocket Man done these days?
Well, he's gone and fired big rocket over Japan.
Fire big rocket! I fire big rocket! I got over Japan! Usually they just land it in the sea near Japan. But not today! Not today! Kim going, we fire further! Yeah!
Yeah, and then South Korea go, oh, we will take strong repercussions. Hold on a minute, South Korea. Did they fire it over South Korea or did they just fire it over Japan? So why is South Korea putting his nib in?
Because they're the neighbours, I think. I think that's the only reason they're sticking there.
Japan's a neighbour as well, isn't it? Really. I mean... So,
are you sure that they weren't the rockets that we saw flying over that concert?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So, but listen. If we are to believe the words of Kamala Harris, then surely that test rocket had US backing.
Oh yes, because
they have a strong relationship, according to Kamala.
They have a strong relationship with the Democratic Republic of Korea, don't they?
Yeah, with North Korea, yeah.
North Korea. Kamala thinks because they use the word democratic that's the South. No, it's not, Kamala.
Nope,
Kamala. You need to build up on your foreign policy and your geography.
How are these people in the fact that these people are in these positions, Kamala
Well,
Harris,
actually-
it's terrifying, isn't it?
Actually, it's quite frightening when you think about it. Because if I may go back in time,
You may.
if I go back in time to the early 80s, I was a young constable working in what was called the Chief Constable's Secretariat, okay, in headquarters in Strathclyde. And what I used to do every morning, I'd go in about 7 o'clock and I'd get the papers and I'd go through the papers. Now, and I would clip out the relevant stories for my assistant chief constable. Okay?
Right.
So I would clip out these relevant stories and paste them into a folder.
Well, like
And
with
then-
Pritt Stick, John.
Yeah. This was sizzles and glue and everything, right? This was the 80s. Remember, we didn't really have computers, or we had very rudimentary ones.
But did
So-
the constabulary buy you actual Pritt Stick, or was it the cheap?
Oh yeah,
alternative?
no, it was actually Pritt Stick. It was.
Wow.
We had the full bunner, yeah.
Wow.
So and there would be there was 6 assistant chief constables and a chief constable. Was it 6 or 4? Maybe it was 4. There's 4 people like me doing exactly the same thing for each of the different assistant chief constables, and then one for the chief constable, and each assistant chief constable had a special area of expertise. So
Yep.
you would only pick the relevant stories. So you'd basically go through the papers and get all the relevant stories of the day and paste them into that binder.
Yeah.
And then you would get your briefing pack, because you knew your schedule for the day. So you'd get the briefing pack ready, and then you would say, right, you have an appointment at 11 o'clock. Here is our position, and then I would write our position as Strathclyde Police
Okay.
on this issue, okay? And then I would write answers to possible questions,
Okay.
and then I would reiterate in a brief summation our aim for this, for this meeting and whatever. And then that would be done for every meeting that the guy was going to. And then at about 9 o'clock, or just after 9, just after he'd had his coffee, I would trot along to his office and give him the morning cuttings for him to read and digest, and his briefing pack for his meetings.
Okay.
So he would then toddle off to his meetings and basically read Strathclyde Police's position as written by me. So there you go. That I suspect is how it's still done, except probably on computer. And I suspect that's how it's done for members of parliament, for members of the cabinet, for state officials in the US. I suspect it's the civil servants and the people running, the people that work for these organizations behind the scenes that are putting everything out for them, putting it all on the table for them. I think that's exactly how it's still done. So these people are just mouthpieces, and when they go off piste, like Joe does, that's when it starts to cause problems.
Did you see his one from yesterday?
There he goes again. I mean, he apologised about asking where Wolosky was, and our mother said in heaven.
Then he started staring at the floor, looking for something on the floor.
The guy's lost it. The guy has lost it.
He has.
So I think that's how things happen, and I think that's how Kamala gets into the situation that she does, because she doesn't read it properly.
I'm
or goes off
hoping.
piste.
What I'm actually hoping is the people that are writing this shite for her really just don't like her.
Well, that's a possibility, because she's meant to be a bit of a stickler to work for, isn't she?
Yeah, and that goes right back to the days when she was a prosecutor as well.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a prosecutor and she put so many black people in jail.
Well, you know what? If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Well, but what I'm saying is, she'll make this grandiose race-based argument all of the time, but she put more black people in jail than most people did. To be honest.
But to be fair, she's as black as Gary.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's true.
So what do we have next then?
Well, we have Donald. The Donald. What's the Donald doing now? So the Donald is suing CNN for calling him an insurrectionist racist, a Russian lackey, and comparing him to Hitler. And I think that's quite fair of the Donald to sue CNN.
I think,
in fact, if he gets 475 million, I think that would sink CNN, and Ted Turner's empire would be no longer.
do you know what? I completely agree with you, and I don't think CNN's the only one he's going to do this to. I think he's going to go after every mainstream news organisation that's done this to him. I think he's going to go after MSM or MSDNC, as I like to call them. He's going to go after all of the big ones because they have done this to him consistently since about 2015, right?
Yeah.
They've consistently compared him to Hitler. They've called him racist. They've called him all of this stuff. And at some point, enough has to be enough. And do you know what? I think he's going to win.
Yeah, well, I think there's a chance. Chance.
I would like to tell you why I think he's going to win. Do you remember Nick Sandman?
No.
So,
no, refresh my memory.
This was about, I'd say, 3 or 4 years ago. And there was a protest in Washington, and there were a bunch of kids from a school called Covington High School, right? Nick Sandman was plastered all over CNN, all over all of these mainstream news outlets because he stood smiling. Again, as a Native American elder, basically berated him and played music in front of him and banged drums in front of him, and all he did was stand there smiling. Didn't say a word, didn't do anything. CNN called him racist, MSNBC called him racist, he was plastered on the front of newspapers. And so do you know what Nick Sandman did? He's a kid, by the way, Covington Catholic. He's a kid. He sued CNN, and he won.
Would you like me to pull up the picture you're talking about?
You can. You can indeed.
There we go.
So this picture here is what got Nick Sandman labelled all of this stuff.
No, we're getting a rental. We'll get adverts.
Oh, okay. Well, we've...
On Twitch, sorry.
My apologies there. But we will leave it up. DW in the Twitch chat says, I remember that. Yeah, so that's what happened. And he sued CNN. I don't know what the settlement was, because I believe it was behind closed doors. But he has received money from CNN. I believe Kyle is also going to sue CNN. We've got so many people that these people have defamed, and I would say that Donald Trump is at the top of that list. And regardless of what you think of him, the stuff they have repeatedly said on the air, on record, that is just so patently defamatory.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's almost as if they thought he was fair game. Yeah, just because he was the president and he wouldn't retaliate.
Well, the thing is,
everybody's entitled to a certain degree of respect, regardless of their position.
So, as a public figure in United States law, there's a much higher bar to cross when it comes to defamation, right? So, if you're a politician, if you're a movie star, there is a much higher bar to cross when it comes to defamation, and I think that the examples that Donald Trump will be able to show in court are so vast in number, are so patently untrue, are so defamatory that I don't think that they've got a chance of beating him. That's just my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, but... Yeah,
well, I suppose a lot depends on the court.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It all depends on the court, but absolutely, I fully support this lawsuit. I think it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's certainly not a spurious lawsuit because, I mean, the guy he's been slaughtered in the press.
And do you know what else I think is going to happen if he does win this? All of the other news organisations are going to piss their pants.
Fox might get away with it.
Well, yeah, because he still does interviews on Fox, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he does interviews on GP News as well.
Does he? Oh my God.
Talk
I don't know
TV.
why. Yeah.
I mean, he fell out of love with Piers Morgan, didn't he, over on Talk TV? They don't talk anymore. They're not friends.
Well, let's face it. Does anyone continue to like Piers Morgan after they've been interviewed by him?
No, probably not.
Probably not. Right, shall we go down under for a change? We haven't been down under for ages.
Why are we going down under, mate?
Well, we're going down under because of this thing called the Optus Hack, right? So this was part of the Australian government's identification scheme for people, so as they could, people would, how sometimes you got to take photographs or show people your passport to get stuff, like if you're getting a PayPal account, for instance, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or your driving license. Well, there was a big hack and all this information was exposed. And now Australia's pushing for a complete
CBDC?
digital identity.
Oh, Jesus.
So they want to do away with all these. They want to do it. So I mean, let me get this straight. You have a paper document that you've shown someone and taken a photograph, they put it up and it's been leaked, and so people have a record of your paper document. So instead of that, what they want to do is they want to make everything digital, so you'd never have the paper document in the first place.
Yeah.
So what happens if someone manages to hack the digital system?
Well, you're fucked. Sorry to be direct there. You are fucked.
Yeah, you're completely screwed, aren't you? So rather than just being partially screwed, you're going to be completely screwed. So I don't understand this rush to digitalization. And once we start and all these EMPs start going off and networks start dropping out and submarine internet cables get cut and all that, how are we going to manage this digital system?
You know what? I'm pretty surprised the internet hasn't been cut
Well,
so far.
Well, it would do our business model no good whatsoever.
We'd have to go on the old CB radio, wouldn't we, John?
Breaker, 19, anyone for
breaker,
a copy.
Breaker, the world is fucked. Breaker, we are all screwed.
Yeah, and this is when those bastions of last defense, the ham radio operators, this is when they claim they will save the world. I don't know how, because the last thing I'm going to be once I've been fucking bombed out of my shell here is somebody who's calling himself a ham radio operator tell me what to do. Fuck off, mate. Show me where the cauliflower is. Where can I get something to eat? I'll be looking for a guy. I'll be looking for a team with guns and access to food.
Adam.
Yes.
So you work in that field, in the tech field, and in tech security in a way as well. And what do you think to this idea of a full digital identity?
Well, it will never work. Because these organisations are too disorganised to put it into place, and if they did put it into place, then it would get abused because they're not good at security. It would never work. Yeah,
I think Adam summed it up quite well.
And whilst before we move on to the next slide, if you're watching over on YouTube, we thank you first of all, but secondly, could you please leave a like on the stream and share it out? That's what we're asking you to do. Just click that share button, click that like button. Get people to come in and join us Mondays to Fridays at 1 p.m.
Yep, okay. Let's see if the next video plays, Adam. If not, then just move on to the shot.
It's still not playing that one.
Right, just move on.
Just move
Fucking on. Google Slides, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, I've seen this. I have seen this.
Yeah. So apparently, and I can't vouch for the veracity of this because there hasn't been a lot of confirmation, but apparently this is doing the rounds on Chinese social media.
On
Weibo.
It's a
mask. It's a mask with a dummy on the end of it, right? And basically, it allows them to stick their swab through it and get a sample on demand. Without the person having to take their mask off. But you're walking about with what appears to be a dummy on the front of your face. I mean, is this trolling or is it real?
No, this is real, John, because we've seen much worse than this, haven't we?
Well, what I would say is that, this could actually work on two fronts, because if you're carrying around an unruly baby and you can't stop them crying...
Oh, you can stick it to the nearest guy.
Stick it to the mask. Oh, come on, you should wait.
Or you can stick it to the nearest person with a dummy mask.
There you go.
Can you drink through this mask as well?
Yeah, could you hold this baby for a minute?
Well, one would imagine you probably could. No, one would imagine you could stick a straw in there.
Yeah, you could probably stick a straw through it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very, very.
It's madness, mate. It's madness. That's what it is.
Yeah, but they're still flying drones around going, you are in lockdown, you stay in
Oh,
house,
no.
you do not come out of the house, and if you don't come out of the house, you wear mask.
China's mad.
They
China
are.
is mad. And anyone, what gets me is I can't understand the apologists for China. And I mean, I know people have called us Putin apologists because we see both sides of the view. But I can't see an upside on China.
John, the state looks after you.
No, it doesn't though. That's the thing. It doesn't, because it's just arrested 1.5 million Chinese.
1.5 million people.
Yeah, 1.5 million.
In 100 days.
Yeah, just imagine that.
They get free food, a bed to stay in.
Yeah, but how do they get treated? You don't know. I mean, look at the Uyghurs. They're put in concentration camps.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think these quarantine camps are for the old coof? They're concentration camps, aren't they? Let's face it.
And
it's
the thing
China.
Is, it doesn't matter how well you are treated. If you are denied your freedom, then you are denied your freedom.
Yeah.
And that psychologically and mentally is just...
Yeah, but
that's the straw that breaks people.
I mean, within the country of China, freedom does not exist. It is an open prison, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right.
Well, of course it is, because with the social credit score in place, at any time they can turn around to you and say, you're not getting on a train, you're not booking a hotel, you're not going to Shanghai Disneyland, you can't have that job you want, your kid can't go to the school that you want unless you conform and comply. It is an open prison, and it is terrifying. And what terrifies me the most is that when the coup came about and hit, they took their cues from that. And not only that, everybody, well, the vast majority of people turned around and went, all right.
And everybody believed it. That's what I remember speaking to what I thought were sensible people, and they were believing what they were seeing on social media. They were believing it, and I'm just like, why would you believe this shit?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, it was so obvious. I mean, it was just so obviously fake to me, and
yeah,
I don't know why. Maybe it's just my skeptical nature.
Robin's put a question in the chat, and I actually want to answer this. I want to answer this not as you would. I don't want to answer this, but he says,
I don't know what.
How do you think
he
said, how do you think the UK would do with 500 million people? Right, so probably about 6 times what we've got. That's 500 million, John.
Is it okay?
But in China, in mainland China, there are over 1 billion people, and somehow this regime has got them under control. How have they got 1 billion people under control? Have you fucking seen the movie A Bug's Life, China? Because you need to watch it. It's education.
Yeah. And they are the ants, and they are well under the thumb.
They are
but
under...
Grasshopper! Grasshopper!
Yeah. Xi Jinping is hopper. He grasshopper. Hip hop, foot down.
Indeed he is.
But there are enough of them to take back their freedom.
Well, the thing is, there's always enough people to take back their freedom.
And
let's face it. Hey, let's face it. UK did exactly the same thing. They had you well and truly, firmly under control.
Absolutely.
They put you in your house and you stayed there.
I didn't.
There's always exceptions, right?
I didn't stay in my house.
We're not talking about you, but the UK as a whole said, stay in your house, slave, and you stayed there. You did that. You stayed in your house and you went out for your 1 hour's exercise a day.
Do you know what?
Or one dog walk.
Bang your pans together.
Yeah, and you stood on doorsteps at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night and banged saucepans. What kind of sorcery is this? But you did it. You did it.
But that's fascism, isn't it, right?
You did it.
Right,
you were performing seals.
But that's fascism, because at the end of the day, one of the key tenets of fascism / authoritarianism, shall we say, is to get your populace to cheer for government institutions.
Yeah. And you're still doing it, people. You still think the NHS is a sacred cow. You're still being told the NHS is going to struggle this winter. The NHS struggles every bloody
winter.
day. It struggles every day because it's an inept and poorly run organisation.
It's got plenty of money, gets £1 billion every 3 days. Just doesn't.
It's completely
When
mismanaged.
they give contracts to the highest bidder, not the lowest, and many trusts do that, by the way, you know something's gone wrong.
I'm going to play something for Robin in the chat.
Okay.
That's true.
There you go. Once again, if you are watching on YouTube and you're enjoying what you're seeing, then please leave a like on the show. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so and share it out. And I think at the halfway point here, John, it might be time for you to shill the Patreon.
Yeah, okay. So if you wish to give us some money so as we can continue to keep the lights on, bring these shows to you on an almost daily basis now, then please feel free to drop us a little bit of your love at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, subscribestar.com/Chasing Dissent, or ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. That's ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent.
You will also...
And we would truly appreciate it.
We would indeed. You will also see a chat to a direct link to my PayPal, as I am away next week and I'm taking my kids abroad for the first time in 5 years. So if you'd like to buy me a glass of wine as I try and deal with them, then please feel free to do so at paypal.me/wheeliebricks. I would really, really appreciate it. And I don't drink. I'm gonna next week. Shall we move on?
I don't know how you manage not to. Yes, let's move on. And staying on the idea of controlling the population.
Yep.
Utah had been trying out a thing called digital driver's licenses.
Where's this?
This is in Utah, the state in America.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And if we look down things that may be added to these digital driver's licenses in the future,
I see
the
it.
one at the very bottom that's been outlined
Adam,
in
read
red,
that out to us, please.
Well, that says social credit scoring.
So there you go. You go.
And this digital infrastructure of social credit scoring is exactly how they have 1 billion people under control in mainland China. If you allow it to happen to you, that's it. That's it.
That's
right?
exactly it.
You might as well, think of freedom as a fiction in any way, shape or form. I mean, it kind of is a fiction now because we are just kind of slaves, aren't we? We're supposed to wake up, go to work 9 to 5, eat, sleep and die. That is what we're meant to do.
Yeah, and believe the mainstream narrative as it's presented to you.
Yeah, you're meant to do that, but if you allow such things to be implemented, that's it, man. That's it. Game over. Life done.
Where did this come from? Is this a official government document?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting what they state on there, isn't it? Your health records, your vaccine records, your financial reports, credit scores. There's things like sex. Yeah.
It's a trial that's ongoing in Utah, and they're the only state that's signed up to it just now.
It's odd, isn't it? Because why would your sex offender status be on your driver's license?
It's not just a driver. They're starting with a driver's license. What they're saying is these are the things that could be added to the record.
Yeah, this is a digital. This is a.
It's a digital ID. It's exactly like Australia's talking about.
I mean, remember when Boris Johnson, when he went on TV and he said he would eat an ID card for breakfast, yeah, and then he implemented vaccine passports.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
posturing.
It is, and don't move on yet, because I'm just readjusting something.
You're just readjusting the list.
Yeah, because that brings us on really nicely to the next item, which is France.
There's the
French government stated very clearly in 2020 that they wouldn't be doing a U-turn and bringing these things back.
Yep.
And now they are looking at it again.
And that's not just adults, is it?
Oh no, well, France has never just been adults. It's been kids. It's been kids all the time.
But
Anything over 7.
I tell you what, they better not do that before next week, because Jesus Christ, I'm going there.
Yeah, well, you know what they were like. You know, they're freaking mental, aren't they?
I shall be going and getting a letter from my doctor immediately,
Yeah.
just in case. But this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't really want to label the point. We'll just point that out. That's France and more people thinking about doing U-turns, just like Liz
our
did.
governments do love a U-turn, don't they, John?
Don't they just?
They love a U-turn.
So speaking of U-turns, Italy, Italy's energy company are ready to pay the guarantee to unblock Russian gas. We want your gas.
It's me, Mario. I got to fix the pipe. There's no gas in the pipe. It's me. So they are Italian giant ENI ready to pay guarantee to unblock Russian gas. 20 million euro guarantee to restart deliveries of Russian gas through Austria. I mean,
What could you say?
I could say that if you press the Putin button, that's all you need to say.
Putin! Yeah, well, I mean, Putin's industrial output has gone up, I believe, since the...
For somebody who's under so many sanctions, he seems to be holding all of the cards.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's doing pretty well. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to nip and grab my coffee, which has been made for me. But I'm going to leave you with the next slide because it's probably something you're better placed to talk about.
Oh, come on, let's see it, Adam. What have I got here?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what they've done here, but this is Kanye West and Candace Owens, and they are speaking at an event, I assume, for White Lives Matter. I know I'm on the fly here, but let me delve slightly deeper into it. I think are they in France, Adam?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it? It looks like that woman in front of them is wearing some sort of blindfold.
Okay,
I don't know where that is.
Yes. Okay. I know what's gone on here. So they are at Paris Fashion Week.
Ah, right.
So it was billed as a surprise fashion show, but landed a bigger surprise than expected. A secret catwalk event by Kanye West at Paris Fashion Week included a t-shirt with the slogan "White Lives Matter." The shirt featured a photo of Pope John Paul II on the front, was worn by models on the catwalk, including Candace Owens, and by Ye, as West prefers to be known, along with the right-wing commentator Candace Owens, a guest at the show. Before the Yeezy Season 9 show began, he told the audience, "Everyone here knows that I am the leader. You can't manage me. This is an unmanageable situation." I fucking love him. He went on to reference his ex-wife Kim Kardashian's robbery in Paris in 2016, his former manager Scooter Braun, and his recent falling out with Gap. Naomi Campbell modelled in the show, but she did not wear the controversial t-shirt. What is controversial about a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter?
Why has it got? Why has it got Pedo Pope on the front?
But that doesn't matter. But that's neither here nor there. What I want to focus in on is organisations like The Guardian saying that statement is controversial.
Yeah,
Why?
but it's controversial because they said it's controversial.
Yeah, but why?
Because they said it's controversial.
The Anti-Defamation League, who are themselves a far-left hate group, in my opinion, categorises the phrase White Lives Matter, which reframes the Black Lives Matter phrase used to protest against brutality, as a hate statement. So, Black Lives Matter good, White Lives Matter hate.
Yeah.
Mental gymnastics to get to that point must be astounding.
It's patently obvious. That
racism against white people is totally okay.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Maybe they're doing something.
It's part of your white privilege.
Maybe they're doing something different here. Maybe they're highlighting the hypocrisy of wearing a Black Lives Matter top. Maybe.
Well, that's what Kanye
we're not talking
and Candace
about
are
them.
doing. Yeah.
Keep up with the fucking program.
We're talking about people like the Anti-Defamation League, as far as I'm concerned, a far left hate group, and people.
Oh jeez. If you don't have anything sensible to contribute, just keep the shut the fuck up. You're right, Ben. You're right.
Shall we move on?
My God, you look so handsome there with the wind moving your flowing locks about, and you're completely unshaven and babyish face.
Well, thank you, John. I'm suitably returned to happiness. That was a good save. Now apologise to Adam and we'll move on.
Right, Adam, let's move on, mate.
Okay.
Right, now I think this is going to be part of the narrative soon.
Are we allowed to report this?
Well, I'm not sure, because I think this is the thing that the UN are saying they're going to try and stifle, but they're not doing a very good job just now because it's still coming out. But you know, if it's Google's YouTube, so I don't know what the problem is, and I'm really not going to say anything other than the fact that I think the headline says it all.
1,100 eminent scientists declare there is no climate emergency, and I'm not going to lie here. I'm pretty sure that 1,100 is more than the 90-odd% of so-called climate scientists.
Yeah, but you know what I want to point out?
What's that?
I was listening to something. You know, sometimes we do a show called Down the Rabbit Hole.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to something
Thursday
last
night,
night.
Titanic coming up.
Yeah. So I was listening to something last night about the Montauk Project.
I know about the Montauk Project.
And this one went into it in quite depth, and I found out a lot more than I actually thought I knew about that I didn't. And the Philadelphia experiment was connected to this, allegedly. This is all alleged, you know.
So the Montauk experiment, they were essentially trying to build a tunnel to another dimension, right?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Right, okay. We're not going to go into it.
Stranger Things is heavily based on Montauk.
It is based a bit on it. Right, so let's not go into that just now, right? Because it could be a whole episode, right? But the thing that got me is one of the people that is supposed to have gone from the USS Philadelphia onto, the USS Elric into the future, went to something like 2130 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he eventually came back. But he said that in 2130, the US basically didn't exist as we know it now.
Right.
The eastern seaboard was underwater.
Right.
California had broke away from the rest of the mainland due to, you know, the earthquake, and it was basically just some islands now.
Right.
The states didn't exist as they are because they were all just martial law enclaves, because of a nuclear war with Russia and China.
Eva.
Sounds like the plot of the High Castle, the man in the High Castle.
No, it doesn't. It sounds nothing like the plot of the High Castle. This sounds exactly like what's happening right bloody now.
Well, okay, so Eva, the man went to the future, to 2130, which is still 100 years from now, I might add, right?
Yeah, well, you would need that.
Or, because of what they did with Montauk and with MK Ultra, he was just on a shit ton of psychedelics.
Yeah, but it was quite interesting. I quite enjoyed it from an entertainment perspective. I'm not saying it was true or anything like that. I'm just saying from an entertainment perspective, I enjoyed it. Now, speaking about entertainment and where you get it from, shall we move on to the next slide?
Why do we see Vodafone and Free here, John?
Because they're talking about merging.
Yeah, this happened before with Orange and T-Mobile. That's how we get EE.
Yeah, I know. So, well, Vodafone and Free merge. What does it do? It cuts down the choice that we as...
Well, once again, that's what happened with Orange and T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And that's why EE is currently the biggest network provider, so...
Yeah, so it cuts down the choice and usually it puts the prices up. Because, to be fair, Free, while not a great network...
No.
Is still one of the very cheapest.
Look, Free have never been a great network.
Especially on their Smarty incarnation.
Yeah, but Vodafone have
But I
always
disagree
been,
with that. 1.3 used to be a very good network. Right?
because they had the best phones. They had the camera phones.
Well, they might have had the best phones, but also they had the ability to piggyback on anyone's network when their network wasn't there.
You don't do that no more.
No, I don't think they do, but they could roam. They could roam on other networks. Because I remember going to America with a 3 phone, and it was picking up, it was picking up Rogers from Canada.
To be
things
fair,
like that.
it was always free. When we were young, when I was a wee lad, it was always free that had the fucking the camera phones.
Yeah, it was.
And they were the ones. Do you remember when camera phones were innovative? When they were, oh my god, a camera on a phone?
This was before the iPhone.
Well, yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Were they Huawei products even? I believe.
No, Samsung.
Were they
No,
Samsung?
they weren't Samsung.
I had a flippy Samsung
You
with
might have had a flippy Samsung, but
a VGA screen.
the 3 ones weren't Samsung.
I was going to say, I believe the free phones were Huawei.
Yeah, I think they were definitely Chinese.
I could be wrong in that estimation, but they were almost exclusively Huawei, I believe. But you're absolutely right, because competition breeds...
Don't start flipping around.
Look, ignore that. Competition breeds innovation. Competition breeds lower prices, higher quality. And you're absolutely right. If we start monopolizing things and large companies start merging, then we take away choice, as you say, and you're right, prices raise because there's no need for them to be low. And so it is annoying, but I guess what will be, and unfortunately us as the little guy, we don't really have a choice in any of this.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
Once again, I'm going to keep banging on. Please leave a like. Please share this show. We want people to come along. 1 o'clock, Monday to Friday.
Sleepy Joe phones up a Coast Guard guy and thanks him personally for all his good work he did in the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
But, you have the resources of one of the most powerful countries in the world at your disposal.
Right.
And you can't check and make sure that the guy's not getting fired for not having his treat.
So Joe Biden calls up a man, and then the man essentially says, "You're firing me, Joe."
Well, I don't know if he said that to him, but he is due to be discharged because of his stance regarding something in the next few weeks.
I mean, I still don't understand how this could still be a thing. That people could still be being fired for this. How are passports even a thing? Right, I'm going to be careful when I say my words here. I'm going to be careful. But now we know for sure that these things do not affect transmission. Right? Mm-hmm. They don't affect it. They don't reduce it. How can your position as being treated or not make a difference in that?
Well, yeah, and how come you cannot go to the States?
Well, this is it. You can even go into Canada.
Yeah,
you can even go into Canada.
Let's put it this way. Someone in America who is like this US Coast Guard guy can quite comfortably travel into Canada.
Yeah, but they can also quite comfortably get on a plane and travel into the UK.
Yeah, they can go anywhere in the world almost, right? But we can't go to America.
Well, why? You're absolutely right, because at this stage in the game, we know the only justification ever for these passports or these entry restrictions or requirements was transmission. Now we know transmission is not affected. How could you ever justify it? How? I want to know.
You just can't do it.
You can't. You can't justify it.
So, moving on.
Moving on.
Poor choice of words by our Prime Minister.
What has she said now?
Well, she said the British economy needs a reset.
Was it a poor choice of words?
Whoa, is it a poor choice of words?
Sounds like a script to me, John.
Or is it a deliberate choice of words?
We need a great reset.
Yes.
You will
yes.
own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure about our position now. What do you think regarding this
What, the Great Reset?
kerfuffle? Well, no, our position regarding the kerfuffle over the budget and all that. I mean, let's face it, people are saying, people. I remember there were people asking her today, do you still trust your Chancellor? Well, hold on a minute. Chancellor doesn't spring the budget on the Prime Minister as a surprise,
No.
No? So she had to have already rubber stamped it. So that was a stupid question in the first place. The question should have been, why did you and Kwasi make such a mistake and why are you having to do a U-turn? Did you not read the room?
No, they obviously don't read the room, and I tell you what my position is on all of this is I am lower class. I'm working class. I've got nothing, right? I've not got a pot to piss in. And none of what they did, none of what they announced, and none of what they reversed will help me in any way, shape, or form. It's not gonna.
No, it doesn't help me either, mate.
First-time home buyers will get no stamp duty up to... How the fuck am I meant to afford a house? I can barely afford my rent every week.
Yeah, it's not just first-time home buyers. As I pointed out, it actually helps the people that have more money and can go and snap up the houses of the people like us that can't afford to maintain them or keep them anymore.
Yeah.
And not pay stamp duty on them.
And I mean, once again, I'll come to you, Adam, because you just purchased a house.
Yes, I did.
And I imagine the stamp duty was catastrophically high.
It was, yeah, it was a lot of money, and with the interest rates going up, I am terrified when my mortgage gets to the end of its set fixed rate that it will go up. I mean, even if it goes up sort of 1 or 2%, I won't be able to afford it.
I had a mortgage in 2008, and the mortgage went from, I think it was something like 6.7% or something like that, to 16%.
Wow.
Jesus, right.
Thanks for that, John.
I mean, I can't fathom how what they have done here, what they have announced, is going to help someone like me. You, John.
The thing is, it doesn't, and it never does, even when the Labour Party's in power. Right?
No, they don't care about us.
It doesn't help the people at the bottom. You can't help the people at the bottom end. You know what I mean? Because they don't count as far as it goes when it comes to voters. So, the only people that vote are the people that aren't on benefits.
So let me preface what I'm about to say with this isn't a woe is me sort of thing, right? But the reason that I do this, the reason that we do this, the reason that I do this is because I wanna strike out on my own. I want to strike out away from any kind of intervention or help. I want to strike out and do things and work for and make a living out of this for myself. Because I've known nothing else, right? I am as working class as they come. I'm also disabled. I'm sick to shit of relying on others, and we're going to make a success of this, and then we're going to register the business in a tax haven. Let's move on.
Right, our friends at HSBC.
What are our friends at the HSBC, the Hong Kong
and Shanghai Banking Corporation?
Yep.
Those well-known bastion of money laundering.
Most banks, John. Most banks.
Yeah, but I mean, they actually got caught and fined for it. Remember, in the States.
Yeah.
So they're looking to sell they're looking to really come out of North America, and they're looking to sell their Canada holdings now.
Oh, interesting.
Because what is it, Panyan or something? Some sort of big advertising company in China is really wanting them just to concentrate on their very lucrative Hong Kong holdings, because I think this company owns 8% of HSBC, so basically they get to tell them what to do because they're the biggest shareholder. So yeah, so they're looking 4.75 billion. I think they're looking for to be able to for you to be able to buy HSBC's holdings in Canada.
Just check my wallet, John.
Yeah. So moving on, this chap, do you remember Dr. Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
So he was the one that couldn't find any evidence of weapons of mass destruction prior to the Second Iraq War.
Died out for a walk, didn't he, John?
Well, yeah. I mean, apparently he took his own life.
Yeah,
didn't
of course
he
allegedly
slit his wrist and overdosed on weed killer. But new evidence has come to fact, and this is despite the fact that the government has continually failed to allow a coroner's request to be held.
Yep.
The Tony Blair wouldn't allow a coroner's inquest to be held. It was a public inquiry instead. So new evidence appears to have come out that he, what would you say?
Didn't kill himself?
Yeah, he did an Epstein. He didn't kill himself.
Yeah, Epstein definitely didn't kill himself. That's not a conspiracy theory. The cameras were off. The guards were asleep.
Yeah.
Bollocks! Sorry, that just came out.
Yeah, I mean, doctors have looked at his body, and there doesn't appear to have been enough damage to slashing to the wrist cut that would have resulted in a death.
Dr. David Kelly didn't kill himself.
He didn't kill himself.
He didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
Is that worth doing a show on? Down the rabbit hole with that one?
Well, it might come up at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we could, if we're going to do such a thing, then we could maybe do a special about people that clearly didn't kill themselves. Hello.
That's an idea. Yeah.
Hello, 50+ friends of Bill and Hillary. What?
So getting towards the wind up, we invariably turn to the New York Post.
The gift that keeps on giving, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Post.
So this groom, obviously in an effort to impress his bride, tries dancing on a slippery floor and ends up in hospital with horrific injuries.
Right.
And you can see them pictured there.
Yeah.
Now, the only question I have here, and you can see what's happened, he's been showing off and he's went over and broke a few bones and whatever. But my question is, why does she look so fucking happy? Lying beside him in the hospital bed when he's obviously out of it. He's on oxygen, he's bandaged to the hilt. You know, the guy looks like he's obviously zoned out on painkillers, and she's like, I'm so happy.
How drunk is she though?
Well, that's the question. Is she still pitched?
I mean, that's fantastic, right?
Isn't it?
That is just fantastic. And there's got to be a video. I want to see the video.
We'll need to dig into that and see if there is a video at some point.
Surely he didn't sustain the injuries just from falling over, because that looks much more serious than just that fall.
Well, you never know.
Why? Well, look at the floor, right? It's a tile floor.
Yeah.
He's going down hard. Right?
Yeah.
He's broke his arm or something, or dislocated his elbow or something, and he's obviously smacked his head. He's probably got a head injury as well.
Yeah, more than likely.
My dad slipped on a rug and fractured his skull in 3 places.
I'm going to say,
it's not hard.
That man right there, he's probably pumped full of morphine. To be fair, he's probably on that gurney having the fucking time of his life. Yeah. I will say that. And maybe that's why she's so happy.
So what I'd like to do, for the last item on the list, I'd like to just address something.
Okay, please do.
That sometimes you mock me for.
What, you mean your flat Earth map?
No, my longitude and time calculator.
The fucking flat Earth map, John!
No, this is a flat Earth map. Look at the differences. You see the massive differences between that and what you purport to be my flat Earth map.
Both of these things are in frame right now, right? Both the land masses within that ring, pretty much identical.
But look at all the stuff in the outer ring that's not in my longitude and time calculator.
That's just because you don't have a bigger piece of paper with more on it, John. It's a fucking flat Earth map.
I'd just like to say I visited Argos, so I know it's there.
Well, there you go. And Asgard? Have you been to Asgard?
I haven't, no. I hope to go there, though.
Isn't there New Asgard in Scotland? I'm pretty sure that's up your way.
I think that was in a movie.
Yeah,
then.
I know, but they've got the signs up still, John. You can go.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, okay.
Go on, it's up your way, John. You can
Okay.
go. Go see
Okay,
New-
there's Hades Bridge.
Hades
You could take a
Bridge.
trip over that.
Hades Bridge. Well, that's in London, isn't it?
Is it? Is it
They've
now?
got some towers on it. Is this the
So
final,
anyway-
is this a final lift item?
This is it.
This
Yeah,
is it.
This
Right,
is it.
You failing abysmally to try and prove that your flat Earth map is not a flat Earth map. That's
It's a longitude and time calculator.
right. Vote time. If you are still watching, that map inside the red circle behind John up there. I'll put him nice and big screen for you. That there is a flat Earth map, same as that. Just looking at the central piece inside the inner ring. Yes or no? Please vote now. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't put a like and you haven't shared this show, then I am very upset and I am very offended. And
It's your right to be offended.
the way you can make it up to me is to go to paypal.me/WillyBricks, and which is in the chat right now, and buy me a glass of wine so that I can cope with 2 children that I haven't taken abroad for 5 years next week.
And you better go to paypal.me/Jaipo and buy me something, because I'm gonna kill someone when he's not here.
We're going to buy you a globe.
Should we buy you a globe?
No, I don't want a globe. Just send cash.
Just send cash. Send your cash. Have you still got that button?
Hold on.
Come on, have you still got the button? Find the button, John. Come on. Adam.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Paypal.me/WillyBricks. Please buy me wine. I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it.
Oh,
Please.
right.
With
so-
that.
with that, yeah, with that. Do you want me to sign it or shall you?
I was going to have you do it whilst I was finishing my coffee, but now my coffee's finished.
Oh, well, there you go.
With that, I would like to thank one and all for attending this episode 133 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, the man sitting in the South Coast studio, with John, the grumpy bastard up there, and with Adam, as always, the man in the corner, who almost did a brilliant job today.
Almost.
Almost. Who will do a brilliant
So
job tomorrow.
close.
It was that
So
it was Adam, it was really, really, really good.
The problem is, Ben, you set such a high bar yesterday.
I know, what, from doing a brilliant job.
Yeah, I mean, you were just awesome. It was flawless.
Yeah, but look at me, John, right? Just, I am flawless. And I know it.
Yeah, you certainly know it all right.
But of course I do. They come here to look at me, not you two. Sign out properly, John.
I'd like to thank everyone for attending this episode 133 of Chasing Dissent Live. From me and the rest of the team, it's good day to you, and may your God go with you, if you have one.
That's all we've got time for this evening, so it's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Stop playing with my bust!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy.
You're a what?
A pianist!
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
You have been a delightful audience. So, good night. Thank you.
Oh, my bottom hurts. Mwah! Good night, everybody.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob.
Oh, I did love that hamster so. I took it into bed with me every night, you know.
Good night, everybody.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to go now. I've been standing here for a very long time. I think the end of the show must have come and gone.
There you go. That's our solar system. You forgot Uranus. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. You've been very nice to work to.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.